deliberating, members of the public are not permitted to comment. Any member of the public may request a copy of the board's decision on a particular case by contacting our office at 318-673-6480 after 1:00 p.m. on tomorrow, or by accessing our website at shreveportcattlempc.com. For consent agenda items and other agenda items not requiring a public hearing, public comments can be made upon request by filling out MPC comment slip. If comments are requested for a specific agenda item, the chair will offer an opportunity for those comments prior to the commission taking action on those agenda items. All of the MPC board zoning recommendations are submitted to either the city council or the parish commission for final decision, depending on the location of the property that is in question. Please note that it is your responsibility to contact the appropriate governing body about their procedure as related to the matter you are concerned with. Copies of this document and phone numbers to contact the governing bodies are available on the table next to the podium and in the entryway of this room. As a courtesy, ladies and gentlemen, please remember to turn off all cell phones while the MPC board is in session. The commission values your testimony and appreciates your compliance with these guidelines. Thank you. And next on our agenda is item 5, approval of minutes from October 10th, 2018 meeting. What is your pleasure?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Smith, a second by Ms. DeMartini to approve the minutes of our last meeting. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor vote yes, all opposed no. That item passes. Next on our agenda is our consent agenda items. We have 2 consent agenda items, case number SP 25-18 and case number C-77-18. What is your pleasure?
So yeah, we do.
I have a motion by Ms. Smith,
Second.
second by Mrs. Cooper. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor vote yes, all opposed no. Those items pass. If you're here about item 6, case number SP 25-18 or case number C-77-18, those items have passed. Next on our agenda, that's the end of our consent agenda. Next on our agenda is scheduled public hearings. First public hearing is case number SP-26-18. Is the applicant present today?
Forby Ranch.
No, put them together. Yeah, we vote on all of it together on consent agenda. Number 8, so a representative for Forbin Ranch, LLC.
Good afternoon. Commissioners, Timothy Larkin with Larkin Development Corporation. That was here earlier trying to get that thing to work there. And at the 11th hour, it worked great. The application, I'm Timothy Larkin. I'm president of Larkin Development Corporation, addressed at 221 Evangeline Walk, Bossier City, 71111. Larkin Development Corporation was selected to be the developer on this particular plat in this subdivision. The application before you is a request to revise an existing plat of the Railsback Ridge subdivision phase 3. The existing plat was approved by this body, the MPC, in 1993. This property is served by an existing right-of-way from the south end of Railsback Road. The property owners purchased a right-of-way along the southern bank of Bayou Pierre in November of 2009 to access this property. The reconfiguration of the plat accommodates a connection to this right-of-way. This replat recognizes that there is then no need for that southern access. And so I have with me just a little digital video of that plat. And I believe believe that I can, if this works. So the lots actually sit just south of 12 Oaks subdivision. This is circling. There are a total of 6 residential lots, and then there are 2 common lots, one that has the right-of-way and another that has the a preserve along Bayou Pierre. So this is circling and facing to the north. That's 12 Oaks off in the very northernmost direction. Now we're circling around and it faces, this is looking east. We kind of rotate back then to a position just north of this plat, looking south, and it will then reveal to you the numbered lots, name of the street and the like. And so if there's anything there that might answer about that, pretty clear. Questions about that? I'll comment, read over the staff report that was provided. I understand from their analysis that a study remains underway and to determine if it is environmentally feasible to construct an extension of LA 3132 to connect with the planned I-69. This is a NEPA study designed to reveal if there are any existing environmental impediments that would conflict with the construction of an interstate freeway class of roadway, sometimes called an F2 freeway. I noted that the staff report does not tell you that there is a no-build alternative choice that remains. Also noted that the report does not state that there is no identifiable source of funding for this project. These facts, I believe, should not be omitted. Knowing them makes it clear that there continues to be no decision, no guarantee, no timeline that would indicate that Highway 3132 will, in fact, be extended. The idea that the NEPA Stage 1 will soon reach an end, somehow yielding an answer and resources for a highway project are not valid assumptions. Quoting from the NLCOG website, their frequently asked questions, number 13, plainly stated, what is the next step in the DOTD process after this EA, environmental analysis, is completed? The answer is the process moves to Stage 2. Further states there, Stage 2 of DOTD's processes is the funding stage, where projects await a funding decision before advancing to other stages. Currently, there is no identified funds to move this project to the next stage. So I just wanted to point those out. Please consider these facts when you are making your decision about this important request. That's my presentation.
Thank you.
Any questions that I might answer or otherwise?
Questions for the staff?
Any questions for Mr. Larkin first?
Very good.
All right. Ms. Demo, 2 questions?
All right, on these feasibility studies, I know they're underway. They've already been phase 1, and they're looking at environmental impacts or anything like that. So would it be fair to say that that the state would not even attempt to designate any funds until those studies are completed?
Once those once those studies are completed, then the availability of funds will be investigated.
Okay.
And NLCOG is pretty confident that there is a strong possibility that funds will be available to fund this project.
So we are going through the systematic phase of the proposed route. There is a proposed route
There's
that's
a
on a
proposal.
map.
Yes.
If we could see that we have in our report that shows, is it up here?
She can put it up.
I think she can get it.
So the green, and then that was done by NL.
That's not it.
That's not it.
Okay.
Yes.
So as the board is looking at this map was the proposed highway, freeway, whatever you call it, 3132 going through there. You see that strip. And this map was actually given to you by
NLCOG.
NLCOG. Okay, so you guys did not,
No.
the staff did not do the map. Okay.
That is NLCOG's responsibility, and NLCOG has taken the opportunity to share that information with us in relationship to this application.
Thank you. So it is proposed right through there. Okay. Thank you.
That it? All right, any other questions? Anyone else here to speak in support of the application?
Yes, my name is Scott Sinclair. I reside at 101 Belle Maison Court, Bossier City, Louisiana, 71111. Just a couple of comments, and one actually to follow up on the dialogue that just occurred. The staff report does refer to the 2040 long-range transportation plan. And what happens is every 5 years, the transportation plan is updated. And so if you look back at the 2035 long-range transportation plan, you'll see that out of $14 to $16 billion of projects statewide, not one dime over that period till 2035 is allocated to this project, and not one dime is anticipated during that period of time for this project. So I would encourage you to look at this plan itself, the Northwest Louisiana 2040 Long Range Transportation Plan, and I would also encourage you to go to DOTD's website, and because there you get to see the state's plan, and the state's plan is what controls. They're the ones that control the money and what projects it goes to. This project is so far down on the list, it's not on the list. They have 4 different categories, in A, B, C, and D. We're down at the bottom of C, and the funding possibilities only relate to categories A and B. And so I would encourage you to take a look at that, because I don't think you're going to find. I wish an NLCOG representative was here today, because I don't think you would find, if Mr. Rogers was here today, that he would tell you that funding is imminent or nearby or anticipated for this project. The second thing that I wanted to point out is in the staff report, there's a statement that it talks about the Larkin development projects that have been before you over the last several years, and it talks about that history. Part of that is it says that SC 11316 and SC 6-18 were denied by the MPC, and according to the staff report, they were denied because they contain lots that had been omitted from a 2014 application before the City Council, and that's just not the case. In fact, on SC 11316, the specific reason why the MPC voted to deny that application was because 12 of the 15 lots proposed for this subdivision appear to be located in the pathway for the potential future corridor of 3132. That's why that was denied. That's why the lots in Unit 6B were denied under SC 6-18. So a reference back to what happened in 2014 is not what prompted this body to make the decisions that it had previously made. So I just wanted to correct the record on that and make sure, even though the staff report says it, that's not what happened. The other thing that's significant about that is that the 2014 action that's referred to, that was the original application for Unit 6 of Esplanade. And this body denied that because a portion of Unit 6 was in the pathway for 3132. That was appealed to the City Council. And in the process of that appeal, Larkin Development at Railsback voluntarily pulled out those portions of that plat that were in the pathway. And so based on that voluntary action, the City Council approved that plat. So they weren't omitted by City Council action, they were omitted by voluntary action on the part of Larkin Development at Railsback. And that's not particularly pertinent to this issue today, but I did want to make sure that the record was clear on that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else here to speak in favor of this application? All right, is there anyone here to speak in opposition to this application? All right. All right, no one else, thank you. What's your pleasure? Yes, question?
Yeah.
Ms. Cooper?
So, in general, just discussion, what happens if these lots are developed and then the thoroughfare plan is in fact realized and the highway is developed and funding is found? What happens? I mean, does anybody actually know, Dale?
Well, I think in the past, let's get the procedure here. I think we need a motion before we do discussion, and I'll go ahead and make a motion, and we'll bump into discussion. I'm gonna make a motion to deny on what the staff report came up with, and I'll explain that too if I get a second.
To deny this application?
Yes.
So I have a motion to deny.
A second.
I have a motion by Mr. Colvin, a second by Ms. Smith to deny based on the staff report.
Right.
Mr. Colvin.
We do have a thoroughfare plan. We do have money allocated by the state and the federal government to what roads are going to be. And I'm not a traffic engineer, I'm not a road engineer, but I'm not a planner, but I'm on the Metropolitan Planning Commission where we're put on this council for recommendations to the bodies that are elected, either the city council inside the city or the parish commission outside the city. So we know that I-49 is going to be completed one day. We know that I-69 is going to be completed one day. This road stops at Flournoy Lucas. It will go through and connect to I-69, which is going to go from Texas across Lock and Dam 5 all the way into Arkansas. Is that going to happen next week? I think Mr. Larkin is under the assumption if there's no money, let's go ahead and let me develop houses, okay, and put on this lot, and it's a beautiful lot. But it might not be the timing. I'm not on the NLCOG. It might not be the timing to go ahead and make this push and develop this right now when within 6 months or a year you'll know if the Zone 1, the Zone 2 studies are done and it's going to be approved by the right-of-way. If it's approved by the right-of-way, then you're not going to build a house there because you won't have the right-of-way for it. So I say that the staff knows what they're doing. They attend the NLCOG. At this juncture, we can say the recommendation is not to build there. He does have the right to parish or city and go to the elected official and you know, take it to them. And then if he still doesn't get what he wants, he's got the right to take it to the courthouse and see what the judge says. But I think right now is, especially these 4 up by the creek are too close to where that road is going to be, and we need to hold up until the studies are done. That's just my opinion, and I got one vote.
Thank you.
All right. Any other comments? All right, hearing none. All in favor vote yes, all opposed no.
And it's yes to deny, right?
Yes.
Yes, it's to.
Yes, is to deny. No is to deny.
All right, and that passes. Next on our agenda is item 9, case number CA-10-18. City of Shreveport.
I'll go check on you. Afternoon, members of the commission. My name is William M. Talton. I represent the Office of the City Engineer for the City of Shreveport, 505 Travis Street, Suite 300, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71101. The Department of Community Development with the City of Shreveport has received some grant funds to construct low-income apartments in the Shreveport area. One of the areas that they have identified is the area between Caddo and Fannin Street. In this particular area, there is an alley that's 20 feet wide that they need to close and abandon in order to meet their goals on their design. Currently, there's a sanitary sewer in that alley, and during construction, that sewer will be relocated to another location. And the city engineer's office is in complete compliance with this proposed closure and abandonment. We have polled all of the utility companies, and no one has expressed any concerns or objections to this closure and abandonment.
All right. Any questions, I'm sorry, for Mr.
Talton.
Talton? I'm sorry. Any questions for Mr. Talton?
I have
Ms.
a few
Cooper?
questions. Yeah, we were just curiosity. Are there bus stops already designated down there? Will they be added if there aren't?
They'd be added if they're not.
Okay. and
Right
then-
now, they're trying to get the site plan approved, and before they can proceed with that, they've got to get this alley closed.
Okay. And how far is that from the Family Dollar that's down there behind downtown? Is that walkable? Or is
Oh,
that-
yeah. It's like
That's what I thought. It's pretty close.
2 blocks, 2.5 blocks.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just curious. Thanks.
All right. Any other questions? Thank you. Anyone else here to speak in support of this application? Anyone to speak in opposition? All right. I have a motion by Mrs. Smith to approve. Second by Ms. Desmartu. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor vote yes, all opposed no. All right, let's see. Next on our agenda, item 10, case number C-74-18. We have a special use permit, Abrams Architecture and Design.
I am Matt Abrams with Abrams Architecture and Design. It's 500 Clyde Fant, Suite 200, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71101.
All right.
I'm here to ask for a special use permit for a new build Johnny's Pizza out on Southern Loop Road, next door to, it's on the south side of 1935 block of Southern Loop Road.
All right. Anyone have any questions?
Tell us something about it.
It's going to be a 4,000 square foot building. It's on a undeveloped site right now. We're going to develop the new building. It will have a pickup window, but it's not necessarily a drive-through with a order menu board or anything like that. It's purely you order online or you call and you just pull up to the window and pick it up. If that window is occupied, we have a second window so you can wait there, so there won't be a big stacking issue or anything like that. And it'll have an outdoor patio as well. So, and we're going to provide all landscaping and fencing and all the things we're required to do as far as the site plan.
All right. Thank you. Any other questions?
Are you familiar with your steps? You have some steps.
Oh yeah, we know all the stipulations and we're going to meet them. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's not a big deal. We can definitely take care of that.
All right. Thank you, sir. Anyone else here to speak in support of the application? Anyone here to speak in opposition to the application? Okay.
Make a motion to approve the steps.
I have a motion by Mrs. Smith to approve with the stipulations.
Second.
Second by Mr. Andrews. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor vote yes, all opposed no. All right. Okay. That passes as well. Next item is as item 11, case number C-75-18 is a zoning request. Anyone here from the Police Officers Association? Mr. Craig?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. Andy Craig with Moore and Associates, 1324 North Hearn, Suite 301, Shreveport 71107. I'm here this afternoon representing the Shreveport Police Officers Association. They're going to build a meeting hall on this site, and when they purchased it, they found out that there was a split zoning on the tract, C1 and R3. And this case is just to convert the R3 to C1, so it will be uniform.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Craig? Thank you, Mr. Craig. Anyone here to speak in support of this application? Anyone here to speak in opposition?
Yeah, it's a support letter. They submit.
In support of the application?
That's okay. Just laying it on.
It's just a glass umbrella. So, anyone here to speak in opposition? All right. You received an additional letter as a support letter for case number 75-18, C-75-18. What's your pleasure? I have a motion by Mr. Andrews, second by Ms. Dagmar too. You all right? All in favor vote yes, all opposed no. That passes. Next on our agenda is item 12, case number C-79-18, Shreveport Cattle MPC. As you all know, this is kind of a continuation from last month. Staff, I guess, Adam, would you want to speak to this?
Yes, these, as you said, these are a continuation of the amendments that connect with the historic preservation. Last month was the code text amendments. These are the zoning map amendments. So this will effectively create an overlay district with all the existing historic districts. Will create a new general historic preservation overlay district.
All right. Any questions for Adam? All right. Thank you, Mr. Bailey. I guess perhaps there's no one here to speak in support of this application or in opposition to this application. If so, all right. What's your pleasure?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion by Ms. Dagmar too, a second by Mrs. Smith to approve. All in favor vote yes, all opposed no. All right, that passes as well. That will end our public hearing for the day. Next on our agenda is item 13, it's our old business. I didn't get any thing in response to Rules and Procedures Committee and Search Committee. Is there something else? I didn't receive anything, so I assume we didn't have a report.
Who's heading it up?
Yes.
I'm not.
I didn't receive anything. So it's on the agenda. I'd have to go back and remember. I appointed a committee. Mr. Joseph, I believe it is. Just whoever's not here.
Obviously.
But yeah, so if you would, if you all don't mind, I think this old business is something we can punt to our December meeting if it's okay with you all.
Yes, and I will talk with Curtis. We were actually talking about it.
Okay. I know I'm not on the committee, so I didn't want to speak for him. Next on our agenda is item 14, new business. And so we have 2 or 3 things that are on our new business. I assume this new business is informational?
Yes.
All right. If you will, Mr. Clark, if you will start from the right and move back into the left.
We Mr. Chairman, the staff has made some recommendations that would like to recommend before the board. There's a number of items that you had encouraged us to look into, to take a look at. And we have been taking some looks at some situations, as we said upstairs, that we have persons that are coming in to give you some information in relationship to the I-49 intercity connector, the 3132 extension, the Amtrak path, a route from Shreveport to Vicksburg, Mississippi, mobile homes, alternative ways of dealing with mobile homes, improvements that are being made to mobile homes, the type of situations that other cities are utilizing to incorporate mobile homes into their housing stock as a separate type of alternative housing. We just wanted to bring that information to you. And we also looked at a situation we had with billboards. And the situation we had with billboards has been talked about and vetted throughout the office. And at this point, we can find no way to address the concerns that the board has about the current cap and replacement system that requires that a billboard company has to demolish at least a conforming billboard in order to gain a permit for a new billboard, or 2 non-conforming billboards to gain a permit for a billboard. And we've gone as far as we can go unless you give us some further direction.
Sure. We also, just for the record, for many of these things that we have talked about, the staff doing research for have tried to take an extra step to add a mid-month meeting beginning in January, and to do it at least quarterly so that it's not a meeting that has to be just about zoning, but that we can explore, be brought up to speed, and even exposed to additional information on things like Amtrak, I-49, 3132, and all the things we've been talking about. So we have agreed, at least as a committee of the whole, to add that beginning in January and then quarterly thereafter, so that we can be brought up to speed on those things.
We have all of these people in place to start in January.
Okay.
As we schedule them to come and bring you all of the up-to-date and in-depth information on all these different areas.
Gotcha. I would ask Mr. Clark, and I'm speaking, I hope board members, if you will indulge me, I don't intend to, but I guess I will speak on behalf of the board after continued review of the billboard ordinance per the new UDC. It is at least my desire, and I hope maybe the desire of the board, that the MPC staff begin an in-depth study of the current ordinance and make recommendations for revisions as warranted. I'm really concerned about making sure that whatever we have out there as law is fair and equitable for all companies who will be competing for business, or doing business, I should say, in the market. I think as it stands now, there's only one person's opinion. It seems that it's very narrowly written, and maybe that we can look at finding ways to broaden that billboard ordinance per the UDC. And is that something you all can do in your office?
We'd be happy, and we are quite capable of initiating a thorough, in-depth reassessment of the UDC, especially that portion of the UDC that concerns the cap and replacement, that pretty well diminishes the opportunity of many billboard companies from entering into our market. The thing that we'll be looking at is that the purpose of cap and replacement is to eliminate some of the environmental clutter that billboards generate. And we have more than our need for clutter in the Shreveport area. If you ride down certain thoroughfares, there are very unsightly billboards that the purpose of this ordinance was to get rid of. But we've initiated some conversations with billboard companies, and oddly enough, they're more desiring to eliminate this clutter than we are. are maybe as equal as we are to eliminate the clutter, but these things are still money-generating entities for them, and we need to come up with a way that it turns out to be a balanced approach to getting rid of billboards and not taking away their opportunity to generate income.
Sure. And that's why my comment was making sure we had an in-depth study, because I think that I've been talking most recently to you about perhaps a text amendment, but that may have been too narrow, and that perhaps we need to look at a broader situation so that we don't come back with small text amendments if we can overhaul the larger ordinance, if you will.
And I think that the board would be much happier if we are allowed the opportunity to do an in-depth search of ways to come up with improving the ordinance that would give a better opportunity for billboard companies that are affected by the ordinance now and billboard companies that want to come into the market.
Right.
Mr. Chairman,
Right,
just a question.
Mr. Colvin?
Alan, on that, the consultant that came in and did the UDC, and I know what you're saying, the ones that have the billboards now are the big fish in town because they can give up two and put a new one up, but nobody else can come in and put one up, so they don't have any market in the game. I get that, but that consultant looked at what happened in other cities. Also, we kind of looked at the Bossier, bill. They reduced billboards altogether. So how is ours that different than other cities now? I mean, other than if you don't have billboards up and you're a billboard company, you can't come in because you don't have two to take down. How is ours different from Bossier's and other cities on the UDC?
I think other cities have come up with, in Bossier, you're just restricted to, you can only erect billboards on the interstate.
A new company can do that. They don't have to give two up to put one on the interstate.
They don't have a cap and replace in Bossier. But they do take, once a company takes down a billboard, they are granted credits. And those are some of the things that we want to really look at.
Okay, before we make any changes, because it's been approved by City Council and the Parish Commission, before we make any changes, we'll vote on it, see what it compares, and then we'll go up the chain with it, right?
It's my understanding that the chairman just wanted the staff to go into an in-depth study
Okay,
to try to find ways to make the present ordinance more equitable,
gotcha.
where more and more companies could get into the arena of erecting billboards. And we still could go through the process of eliminating billboards, because that's the main thrust, is finding a way to make it equitable and allow other companies to enter into the system, but also to ensure that we continue to eliminate some of the unsightly billboards around the city.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Clark, as well for that. Next on our agenda item, other matters to be reviewed. Director's report, Mr. Clark.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Bailey has some amendments that we're proposing that you take with you, and if you would, give them a serious looking into, and would you come back for the December meeting, we will discuss these amendments, and there are still cleanup amendments that we're finding, as I shared with you earlier, that are problems that we have, and those problems that we are having with the ordinance, they will correct some of those problems and improve the way that we're doing things. Want to say anything else?
He was on the agenda. Nobody talked about it. All right. That was the director's report.
And secondly, if I may, for those the board members that were not here, earlier, the employee appreciation luncheon will be December the 14th from 11 to 1:30, and that will be at the Holiday Inn downtown.
All right. There's a slip there. If you need something, would you let her know what it is?
She wants to speak. Is there a slip?
Did she fill out a slip?
She filled out a slip.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, I never saw
You
it.
left the chair now.
Bring it to
You
me.
have it?
No, it's in the collector.
Amanda Sweeney, would you give him that? Yeah. Yeah, both of you. There we go.
Okay, we have I'm sorry, no, I didn't know it was a request to speak, but we can do it now before we're done. We have a request to speak from Christy Lloyd. Doesn't say the subject, just
We're fixing to find out.
Christy Lloyd, 4141 Mellon Street, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71109. Mr. Chair, Mr. Director, and the members of the Metropolitan Board, I come to you trying to, I saw it on the agenda and I thought we would come down here to request about the parts of the UDC, the coding about mobile homes. My husband and I recently purchased a mobile home on 3747 Tate Street. We put one there. It was relocated from Texas. We assume through our process of getting it brought here and paying the various amount to get here, the permits were done in order to get it here, which it got set up. We were talking about the pad. The electric company came out, told us what we need to do. The engineer, not once but twice, told us what type of pole. So we got the electrician. They were able to put up the electrical pole for the electricity, and also the water company was able to put our meter back, and also said that we had a problem with the pipes since the new reduction of the city sewage had been going on. So we did that, not knowing at the particular time. Now, the history of this 3747, we've lived there prior to that. We've lived there prior to that. There was a home there before. It was torn down. We tore it down, and we moved, but we had always planned on coming back to that spot. Looking in the areas, took pictures of other various mobile home, double wides that are in the area. Just down that street alone, there is several homes that are abandoned, that are dilapidated, and are not up to standards. The mobile home we bought, happily not knowing that it was a single wide, and we were building it up, you know, in the process of the rain, to build a foundation, the driveway, and also to deck it around. The process when we made this life-changing decision to do that, it was mostly based on my health, not knowing that we may not be in compliance of the different ordinance. So when we were sent the letter about the UDC and the matrix and everything, I say, well, how did we get so far? And because there was a complaint made. And it's like, well, we're building it up, we're going to put a deck around it, we're going to have the gate. We came down to the MPC to see, we talked to a planner. She said, well, there's no place in it for it at all. No place for it at all, you just got to move it. And it's like, well, it can only be an enhancement to the area. A lot of people don't even care about the Moortown area. We have chose to stay there. There are other, just this past summer, someone put a mobile home that's beautified, even with flowers and plants and everything. We chose to stay there. And she said, well, does it have wheels? I say, well, they all come on wheels. And I say, if we have to take the axle off and put it on a foundation, I'm there, but I have no recourse whatsoever of what we need to do. And I just don't know what to do. I just want the board, I'm humbly asking you, just give us some direction when we don't have to move our new home based on a complaint, at least one complaint, because in that area, all I can say is that it would enhance the people, and maybe it would encourage the other people to do something good about their property, because we have always kept up that piece of property. That's all I have to say.
All right. Yes. Okay. Anybody got any questions? I mean, it's just a public, it was a public comment.
Was this changed after
There,
the
this,
zoning change?
this has been mobile homes have been prohibited in this zoning district for quite some time.
Even before the change of UDC?
Even before the UDC.
Okay. Is it possible that you could get with her and let her know the procedures and all? You've done it?
She met with the planner?
Yeah, she met with Ms. Correa in the office, and
Okay.
I've shared this information with Mr. Lloyd. Exactly what the situation is.
Right.
It's a very unfortunate situation.
Right, it is.
Not anything that we're real happy about, but there is not a path
Right.
that the ordinance allows for the mobile home to be allowed to stay at the location. And the only recourse is to remove the mobile home and remove it to a manufactured home subdivision or manufactured home park.
Prior to that, when we went down there and met with Miss Alice, and it was already there. It was already there. The plumbing had already been done. The electrical was everything done. We had to cease and desist them coming in the next day, already paying for the cement. So cement goes back. You can't get anything back for that. I understood that the codes changed in 2017, May of 2017. Well, I just assumed that maybe the commissions, maybe the electric company, maybe everybody should have known about the change. How did we get so far? I'm just saying that I thought some other people should have known about this change. And it was
The unfortunate thing, Mrs. Lloyd, is that in order to move the mobile home into the site, a permit was required, and no permit was applied for or granted. At that time, you would have been advised of all of the things that you're being advised of now, that use would not have been allowed. The electric company would not have been able to pull a permit. The plumbing company would not have been able to pull a permit. The system may have failed, but it failed because a permit was not applied for it and granted.
When we get my permit now, or the government, what is it called, government online, whatever it's called, will that minimize these kind of things?
It still is going to require an applicant to come and, in some form or fashion, and apply for a permit. And then you can track it better on my government online. But the key to the permit process working is persons applying for a permit. At that time, all of the information that's necessary is given. Many times, unfortunately, vendors will come into the city and they do not follow the process. And they will do things like what has happened to Mr. and Mrs. Lloyd. They will deliver and place this mobile home on a site. And then they find out at the end of the process that it's not allowed to happen there. And, the recourse to that is suing that company that brought a mobile home into our city illegally and placed it on the lot.
And we're so sorry that happened.
So I need to go back to Atrax Excavation and sue them and sue my contractor who have done this. And at the process, you're telling me that you want me to move it. Well, assuming we're gonna have to have some, that at this point, it's not possible at this point, so.
We're trying with everything we have to work with you to grant the necessary time in order to remove the mobile home. But the final analysis, unfortunately, is that the mobile home will have to be removed.
So there's no variance, there's no, and There's nothing we can do. The ones that got put up this summer, there's nothing nobody can do.
There should not have been any put up unless they were pre-approved.
But, now, I don't know the answer to this, but, you say there's some that came this summer, where to?
Right there on Carr Terrace, at the corner of Cleveland and Carr Terrace.
Mm-hmm. You got
There's a
that?
double wide right there on the corner of Cleveland and Carr Terrace.
The question is, the other question, that may be it, if I'm hearing what she's saying correctly, is it may be possible that it is a stick-built, just what you call that?
A modular.
Manufactured home, and not a mobile home.
Well,
it's double
she could
wide.
build she could bring a modular home in there tomorrow.
Right.
Take out the manufactured home, which is, we consider them all mobile homes.
Right.
And tomorrow, and she would be in compliance.
Okay.
But the mobile home, manufactured home, however you want to classify it, is not allowed.
I got you. So it's I was thinking then about
Excuse me.
modular homes.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So none of them are allowed?
Right.
Modular.
Modular is allowed.
Right, so you're saying that the one that's on the corner of, is a modular home?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
No, it's
I
a
don't
double
know.
wide.
I had to look at it.
If there's
But I'm
some
saying-
already there, they may be non-conforming.
They may have been moved in prior to,
It was moved
change.
this summer.
we will
They're-
check it
they're-
out. It may have been an approval that was granted for, it may have been a special exception use that was granted prior to
July of this
UDC.
year. Matter of fact, that's where I got the idea. I went to the lady's house, I asked her who she used, what she did.
I will have an inspector, Mr. Chairman, go out and investigate what's on the corner of Cleveland at Carl Terrace.
All right, please do. Thank you.
Okay, so there's nothing I can do
At this point.
No.
at this point. Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, we're sorry.
All right. If there's nothing else, any board comments? Right, no board comments, then meeting is adjourned. Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
All right.